Are you thinking about buying a home in the next decade? Well, you might want to reconsider, especially if you're looking at coastal areas or regions prone to wildfires. Jerome Powell, the chairman of the Federal Reserve, just made a prediction that could completely reshape the housing market. Let's dive into why mortgages could become nearly impossible to get in parts of the U.S. in the next 10 to 15 years. Stay tuned. Imagine waking up in the near future and realizing that buying a home in certain parts of the U.S. could be impossible. Well, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell is predicting that this could soon be a reality. During his testimony before Congress, Powell raised some alarming points about the future of mortgages and the role that climate change and the insurance industry are playing in all of this. But what does this mean for you, your future home, and the housing market as a whole? Well, here's the thing. Rising natural disasters and the crisis in the insurance industry are pushing banks and insurers to pull back from areas that are deemed too risky. So where will you be able to get a mortgage? And more importantly, where won't you be able to get one? Let's break it down. Jerome Powell doesn't make these kinds of predictions lightly. He told Congress that in the next 10 to 15 years, certain regions in the U.S. will become nearly impossible to secure a mortgage due to rising risk from climate change. Coastal areas, wildfire-prone zones, and places hit hardest by extreme weather could face a future where insurance is simply unavailable. And if you can't get insurance, you won't be able to get a mortgage. It's as simple as that. Now, you might be wondering, why is insurance such a big deal here? Well, it's a major requirement for mortgage lenders. If you can't insure the property, banks won't lend. Insurers, already burdened with huge losses from natural disasters, are canceling policies left and right. Companies like State Farm have already pulled out of high-risk areas, and the problem is only getting worse. This is especially concerning because homeowners in high-risk areas are increasingly being forced to turn to state-run insurers of last resort for coverage. The problem? These policies often come with higher premiums and limited coverage, making it harder for buyers to qualify for loans. And banks, faced with the evidence of rising disaster risks, are reluctant to provide funding in these regions. So, how does this all tie into your dream home? With fewer insurers willing to cover properties in these risky areas, mortgage lenders are likely to stop offering loans. And even if interest rates come down in the future, Powell says it's not obvious that it'll help housing affordability. Why? Because demand would likely skyrocket, driving prices up even further. Powell also pointed out that while short-term issues like interest rates might stabilize over time, the longer-term problem of housing affordability is much more complex. Powell made it clear that the Fed doesn't have the power to address this problem directly. It's about the supply of homes, and frankly, there just aren't enough to meet demand. And there's more to consider. Powell also touched on the future of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac, the government-backed entities that help keep mortgage rates lower. If these two giants are ever freed from government conservatorship, it could have a major impact on how mortgages are priced and offered. While Powell didn't say it would happen soon, it's something that could change the mortgage landscape dramatically in the long run. So what's the bottom line here? If you're planning to buy a home in the next decade, your options may be more limited than you think. We could see certain parts of the country, particularly high-risk areas, become no-go zones for mortgages. This could have ripple effects throughout the housing market, from rising costs to fewer available homes. Will the government step in to protect homeowners? Or will we see a shift to private sector mortgage options? Only time will tell. But here's a question for you. Are you prepared for a future where buying a home could be more difficult, more expensive, and even out of reach in some places? Will you be ready to adapt to these changing times, or will you have to rethink your dream home? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to hit like if you found this video eye-opening, and subscribe for more insights on how the housing market and economy are changing in real time. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you in the next one.